Hey guys, it's Mark from Team How To. Today I'm going to talk about the recent changes Audacity has made in their equalization effect. I'm going to explain what equalization is, how to use it, and I'll break down each of the settings in the equalization to give you a better understanding and so you can get the most out of it. Just a quick background what equalization is. It's sometimes referred to as the EQ. In auto processing, it is a way to manipulate sound by frequency. It allows you to increase the volume of some frequencies while reducing others or just adjusting them how you please. As of the Audacity 2.3.3 release, equalization has been removed from Audacity and it's been replaced by two different separate effects, the filter curve and the graphic EQ. Previously, they were all together as one. The filter curve uses drawn curves for equalization. The graphics EQ uses sliders for the equalization, similar to a hardware graphic equalizer you might see on your home stereo or in a car stereo. In some cases, will have them. So to get started, let's just say that if you don't have Audacity and you want to use it, go to audacityteam.org, hit the download site here, and pick the one you like, whatever version you're running, whether it's Windows, Mac, whatever, Linux. So once you've got Audacity downloaded and installed, I'm sure you can figure that out. If not, we'll do another video some other day. Okay, once you have it installed, this is what will launch. Once you launch your Audacity program, it's going to show you the Audacity is the 2.3.3 version. That's what we're going to be focused on today. There's a lot of other tutorials in here, online, manuals, all these things that'll help out. If you need more questions answered than I don't do, we'll hit OK. If later on you want to know what version you're running and you come back in, you can hit this help and drop down to About Audacity. It's going to show you the same thing. It'll show you exactly which Audacity version you're running. We'll just hit OK there. Now what we want to do is we want to record something that we can deal with the equalization. So I'll just do a quick testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. There we go. Now you can see I left a little bit of space at the beginning here. What I like to do is do some noise reduction on this. You can see, if you look up close, you can see a little bit of noise here. Well, that's just background noise. Heater running, whatever it happens to be. Ambient noises in the background. So what I do is I highlight this section of only that, go to the effect, do a quick noise reduction. We get the noise profile. That's basically saying what it is I want to remove. Now when I highlight the whole track, and I do the same, I hit Effect, Noise Reduction. I can come in and hit, I'm just going to stick with the defaults here. I'm going to hit OK, and you can see it basically cleaned that out really nicely. So what I'll do is I'll highlight this, and I'll delete it with the delete key, get rid of the stuff we're not worried about. There we go. Now I'll take a quick listen, see what it sounds like. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Okay, that sounds nice. Now that we have something to do equalization on, we'll go ahead and check into the equalization. So what I want to do is I want to highlight the whole track. I will come up here to Effect. Now in the old days, like you may know, you would go down to the Equalization or the Equalizer, but it's not here anymore. We have two options now that have taken that place, as we've spoken of. We have the Graphics EQ and the Filter Curve. So let's start with the Filter Curve. They used to both be basically built into the same exact function, but now we have this. So we'll go Filter Curve first. Now what the Filter Curve is an equalization tool, and it's the fast Fourier transform filter. And unless you were into some sort of electronics courses or perhaps an audio specialty type course you probably have never heard of, it's some serious math that goes into it. Trust me, I've been there. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about all that math. We can just look at this great interface and we can do it the easy way. If you look closely at the curve in the image, you'll see it's composed of a blue line joined together with a number of white dots, and a green curve which follows the general shape of the blue curve. The white circles are called control points. The blue curve is drawn by either clicking the graph at any position or clicking the blue curve and dragging it to a position. Doing either creates a control point at that position, then creating further control points draws the curve. To remove a control point, you can simply drag it outside of the graph. The green curve is the one that Audacity actually uses to perform the effect, taking into account the limitations of equalization algorithms. The green curve usually follows the blue curve closely, but will be forced to a smoother path if there's a sudden change in amplitude over a small frequency range. Now let's talk about the linear frequency scale checkbox. When this box is unchecked, the horizontal frequency scale is logarithmic, giving more detail to the lower frequencies. This corresponds roughly to our greater sensitivity to lower frequencies. When checked, the frequency scale is linear, displaying equal frequency ranges for each unit of the scale. This can be useful for precision adjustments at higher frequencies. Next we have this flatten button. It's just a quick way to level everything out so to a zero response. And this is just basically means that if we flatten this, and as you watch the curve up here when I hit flatten, it sets everything back to zero, so there will just be no change to anything. And so sometimes you want to come in and start from scratch. You go to there, adding little points where you want to make adjustments like that. I got one here and here, and I pull this up. There we go. Okay, so the next one's the invert. And the invert takes the current curve in the window upside down, changing positive gains and particular frequencies to negative and vice versa. So you see invert, simple. The show grid lines seems pretty obvious. You see all these grid lines in here. When I deselect it, you can't see it. So I guess it could make sense to try it sometimes, but there's a whole lot more information if you do it this way. Next we have the manage button over here. There's a few things happening here. You can save presets. Let's say you get something the way you like it. You can save that, and then you could load that preset back up by hitting the user presets button. You could import and export things accordingly. The factory presets is kind of nice. You can come down here and make certain just simple changes. We have the 100 hertz rumble, which takes a lot of the bass out. If you click this, you can see all this low end is just being deleted right out, and so that'd be an option if you had too much bass in it. AM radio, this is going to make it sound like it would sound if it were heard on AM radio. So you can kind of take a look at that. Basically, it just chops all of the high and low end, which you can kind of imagine. This is why stereo sounds much better. Bass boost, you come in here and it boosts the bass quite a little bit here, and you can of course make an adjustment after the fact if you'd prefer. The next one down is the bass cut. It'll do just the opposite. As you can see, it just cuts the bass right off at 200 hertz. And you can just kind of go through and see what these others do. They're somewhat obvious. There's walkie-talkie, for instance. You might, if you want it to sound like a walkie-talkie for some reason, you might want to hit that button. So you can see I just made an adjustment there. That's real nice. Okay, so the next one's the preview button. Let's say we've gone in and we've made some adjustments. Let's say we want to put in the bass boost, for instance. Okay, so we have a bass boost in. We know what the original sounded like. So we come in and we can listen and see how the bass boost is going to sound. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. All right, sounds good, but wait. Let's just say we like the bass boost, but we think maybe it needs a little more of a boost. So we can come in and pull this up a little farther and listen again. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. That sounds a little deeper to me. That sounds fine. So that kind of covers all of the buttons, all of the possible settings. Just remember, if you want to really get things buttoned down tight, you can come in and make as many of these control points as you want. Adjust them accordingly. If you can find out exactly at what frequency a certain thing is happening, then you can come in here and adjust it accordingly. Say you want to drop out the bass altogether on this, above 30 hertz or just whatever. You have a lot of options. And here you can see where the rapid change in the curve, you can see where the green versus the blue is, like I mentioned earlier. So it just gives you a better example of that. So now we've kind of got that figured out. Let's take a quick look at the graphics EQ. To get to the graphic EQ, we'll come up here to the effect. We'll just slide down here to the graphic EQ. Now you can see this is very similar to the other with the linear graph, but in this case we just do each one sort of manually, one slider at a time. This would be the way you're used to doing it, say on a car stereo or a home stereo, that type of thing. It has all of the same adjustments and all the flatten and the invert, all the exact same things. There's the manage, there's the presets. All things are identical. It's just how you interface with it. In this case, you use the sliders, and the other, you actually create the curve yourself. There are a couple more noteworthy things to mention about this. Here, if you click and drag the slider up or down, it will increase or decrease the volume by a maximum of 20 decibels. So this could be a 20, and you can see it highlighted exactly where it's at, what it's doing. It says 20 hertz at 11 dB, 12 dB, 13 dB as you slide through there. Once you're on one like this, if I hit the tab key, I can tab between them. Shift tab takes it backwards, of course. If you would like to slide it at a slower pace, you can do the shift and do the up or down key. So I'm shifting, it's moving down slowly, slowly, slowly. Now if I want to just do up or down arrows, it does the same, but it just does it more by 1 dB. If I do it with a shift in the arrows, then it goes 0.1 dB, 0.1 decibel at a time. As you can see, it's moving really slowly. So it lets you zoom in really tight that way. If I take this, if I want to make it a little easier, I can make this a lot bigger, and that gives us a little more ease in finding what you're looking for that way. So that's about it. There's really not much else to speak of. It works exactly like the other. It's just you get to choose each specific one. We'll tab between them, do like this, like this. So just remember, everything on the right are the higher frequencies. Everything on the left are the lower frequencies. And if we want to add some higher frequencies, we can come over here and you can even see the frequency. This is 16 sorry. At the 16 kHz level, we're going to adjust it by however many dB we choose. So there we go. Let's make a quick example, and we'll show basically how it affects what we're doing. So I'll just cancel out of this right now. I think I'll delete this one, and I'll try to repeat what I'm saying as well as I can back to back. So we'll go testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. There, those sounded pretty good. Let's go ahead and take any noise we have out. We'll go Effect, Noise Reduction. We'll get the noise profile, which is this. We'll select the whole thing again. There we go. And then we will do, once again, we'll go to the noise reduction, and we will just hit OK. And that takes all that noise out. Now let's get rid of this dead space at the beginning and the end. Now we should have these two should sound really close. Let's listen real quick. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, those sound very similar to me. So what we want to do here is come in here. We'll make an adjustment on the second, testing 1, 2, 3, and then we can compare it to how it sounds against the first. So I've highlighted that one. We'll go to Effect. We'll use the filter curve in this case. You can see it had some stuff we'd done earlier. We'll just hit the flatten. We'll make a decision what we want to do. So let's say we want to add the factory bass boost. So we'll just do bass boost. I could listen to preview here, but then I don't have anything to compare to. So I'm going to say OK. And you saw a little bit of boost there. So now we'll come back in here and we'll listen back to back. If you've got some good headphones, that would help a little, but hopefully you can get some feel for this. Now let's give it a try. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Now I didn't see a big difference there, so let's go ahead and boost that a bit more. We'll do the same here. Go to the Effect. Go to the filter curve, and let's take this bass way up here. Even take it up a little higher here. Maybe a little here, just to get the idea, just to give you a better idea what we can do. In this case, we'll say OK, and we'll come back, and you saw it that time. That time you know it's going to be some bass. So let's give it one more try. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. So if you have some really good headphones on, you might have been able to tell the difference. Mainly, you can definitely see the difference in the waveform, which tells you that it's definitely happening. And if you have some really good headphones, you'll be able to tell that. One thing I'd like to caution you on is to, once you've done a pass through the filter, in this case we've already done it and you know we've put the bass boost in. Well, if I come back in here and I go back to my filter curve, you might say, okay, this is what it's setting it as, so I can go ahead and make another adjustment over here to say I want to add some treble and I want to come in and do this. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but it's going to actually apply that same change again, so it will boost it again. I'll change nothing here. Basically, this is the same, but when I hit OK, watch how it distorts this. So you can see it's gone all the way outside the bounds. It's clipped all the edges, so it's going to sound like total garbage. So it won't even be usable. If you listen real quick, watch this. So you can see just how bad that is. I'll hit Control Z and get a better feel for this. So now if we wanted to add treble, when we come in, we go to the filter curve. Remember, before you change that, get rid of this. So we'll flatten this back out, and that way any changes we make will not be compounded over and over. So now let's say we want to add some treble. We'll come in here and do this, add a little treble, whatever, or high end if you prefer. Hit OK. You can see it actually brought it in a little versus out, and we can take a quick listen, and we'll see what we get here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I could definitely see a little more treble in that. So anyway, that's what we've got. Really, the key to equalization depends on so many factors. How it sounds to you. Are you dealing with stereo scenarios? What exactly is going on? What kind of background noises do you have? You don't want to amplify a background noise that you don't like. So make sure you get all those background noises out first. and just play around with those settings till you find what works best in any given scenario. Those presets are nice to use if you want to just do some simple things. But that's all I've got. I hope you got something out of that. Best of luck.
Hey, did you remember to subscribe?